other than YouTube stuff, farming. Get them out the door before you have to send them. Sorry.
Call the Leyton Public School Board meeting to order. Open meeting posters on the wall over here, and meeting notice was posted in the Sydney Sun Telegraph, on the website, at both schools and various businesses around town. Roll call.
Mr. Banish.
Here.
Mr. Borges.
Here.
Mrs. Ernest.
Here.
Mr. Rushman.
Here.
Mr. Shoemaker.
Here.
Mr. Wiedemann.
Here.
Mr. McLaughlin.
Here.
Mr. Jones.
Here. Next, everyone stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the agenda.
So. Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Banish.
Yes.
Mr. Borges.
Yes.
Mrs. Ernest.
Yes.
Mr. Rushman.
Yes.
Mr. Shoemaker.
Yes.
Mr. Wiedemann.
Yes. All right, hearings and persons to address the board. If we have any, we will go to special presentation to the board. Mrs. Wolf, you're up.
Yay. I guess I'm presenting on a subject that has come up several times in the past. Just, not being here long enough, didn't know, and now I've just heard it's possibly not the best subject for a lot of people. But just since I've been here and looking at some things and listening to students, I'm going to start with the positive, right? I've had a great almost 2 years here now. Have loved the kids. I've loved working with everybody here. It's a great teaching staff. I don't really see any issues with the teaching staff. Overall, I think what we've addressed in some meetings is maybe like a cultural shift that maybe we need to change with our student body. And so, in my position, I get to hear everybody whine a little bit. And, the biggest complaint is, why do we even have to be here? Why can't we just do this all the time? I hate being here. I hate being in school. I hate doing this. I hate doing that, or listening to, being next to the English room. Just in that particular classroom, grammar again, this is stupid. We'll never have to use this. Why are we doing this? And kids are just hating it. And, or the vocabulary. This is just too much vocabulary. Who'll ever use these words? And so, the student body just doesn't seem to be in this mode where they see a reason to want to be here or to excel. And so I only brought the 4 classes of students who have taken the ACT here. Last year's seniors, of course, had some amazing stuff. This year's seniors, the composite average is 19.2. And if I threw out some of the kids that aren't here anymore, that would probably go up a little bit. So I think the state average is usually around 20.2. So we're just a little below that right now. Our junior class was a little harder to take. Out of the 13 kids that have taken the test, the composite is 14.7. And our English score, or I hear the complaining, is our lowest score. So, like this class, their English score is 12.23 on average, which is a little bit scary. And so like the seniors, their English score average is 18.33. So our reading is a lot different. It goes up quite about 4 points on average. The sophomore class, only 6 have taken it. And their composite is 14.33. So I'm kind of seeing this weird shift. But if I go through the English scores, out of these 6 kids, it's 10, 10, 12, 11, 11, 12. That's our English score
On the ACT.
on the ACT. And I know a lot of people feel like maybe there shouldn't be as much emphasis on the ACT because, you know, for a while during COVID, it's not that big a deal, but it is an equalizer. Over the years, I had a kid that was on the upper autism spectrum, hated anything that did with writing. I mean, the kid could hardly write his own name. But he got a 32 on the ACT. He was the only kid that I've had go through and get a certificate of merit from the PSAT. Scored high enough to get that. But his GPA was like a 12.3. So there's an equalizer, like, or 12.3, 2.3.
Yeah.
You have this equalizer of the ACT to really say what, you know, a student with a 4.0 at a school, what was the rigor of their coursework, what does that 4.0 mean? And so they're going to look at that and compare it to what they're doing on the ACT. Because you can have a lot of really good students who work really super hard, get great grades, have 4.0s all the way through, but then they really can't do that well on the ACT. And yeah, sometimes testing is stressful and they don't do that well, but I think it's someplace where if we focus some energy, we might be able to change the culture a little bit. Our freshmen on this one that we gave them for the school bought, their average was a 15. So that came up a little bit. But again, it's that English. 16, 12, 12, 18, 11, 10, 10, and a 6 on one of the readings. It's like, well, they just didn't try. But didn't try or really wasn't that difficult. And so looking at maybe how to look at some of these things, I just made a quick few notes. If you want to just
Yeah.
pass it. Our junior high, staying at the elementary, they only have 4 core classes every day. So they're about 50 minutes long, correct?
They're 60, the first 3 are 68, so I'm 60.
Okay, so then I'm a little off. I thought they were about 50 minutes long, which would only be like 3.33 hours a day of core learning. And then the rest of the day is divided up between the PE, music, art, some computer classes, and then, you know, just a lot of fun. Which isn't bad. I mean, they're very happy in the afternoons, but then when you want to get into the high school and maybe relish a little more of the learning because they have enough base to go off of, but I think they get here and the challenge steps up a little bit. So I don't know if we need to change it from 4 core to 5. And this is how I was addressing maybe that low English, is if they had a separate grammar writing workshop class and a reading lit class, so that there would be 2. Because when you come out of 5th grade right now, you know, you have spelling, your language arts, your reading, all these things are rolled into one class then in middle school and through high school. So you're really combining a lot of learning in the day into that 60 minutes. 68, yeah. So just maybe being able to lengthen that. And if they were in the high school where they could have maybe some exploratory classes that would also involve learning, reading, writing, they could be in some family consumer science, take an industrial technology class, the enter the ag class. I had a 4th one on there, what is it? And, family consumer science, enter the ag. Oh, and maybe a weights class. Because kids seem to need to step up their athletics is a little bit at the junior high. I don't know if we're as competitive with some schools that might have some practice that goes into after-school hours, which is hard for small schools to have after-school hours for your junior high to play sports. Plus, right now, after and putting in the pre-K, which I think was amazing, I mean, we had a great enrollment this year. That school is crowded. I mean, there is not a lot of empty space anywhere. I mean, people are in tiny offices, sharing office space, using basement space. And you could divide it up into 7 grades in each building. If you didn't want to bring 6th grade, leave the 6th grade, just bring 2 grades up and leave 6th grade. Because here you have the bigger kitchen, the bigger multi-purpose room for eating in, and we only have 46 kids right now in our high school. So that's not a lot of lunches that this staff is putting out, where over there's 120 kids in that building, and a smaller kitchen, smaller facility, and I don't really think that would take away from Gurley and the Gurley businesses or anything to have that be even. I mean, that's just how I see it. My opinion's not that valuable, but, and then just the collaboration between the middle school staff and the high school staff to work together to bring the kids up, because I know Mr. Henderson is sometimes really concerned about how little they know in measurements, or even Mr. Haley with the shop classes, those kids not being able to use a ruler and all the different measures. So just having more early hands-on, see a microscope, see a Bunsen burner, something in science, and then there's something, and I know everybody hates hearing it, what you did at a different school, but once we had 8th graders being able to either take 8th grade math or Algebra 1 as an 8th grader, that kind of gave kids something else to shoot for a little bit, because they wanted to be in that Algebra 1, and then when they started in high school, they could be in geometry as a 9th grader, and just really up that math game. But if you do that, then you also have to have the opposite offering. So you would switch up. If half the kids were there, then you'd also want a higher level science class for those kids. Because you could put it against English, because sometimes the English reading kids with their scores aren't the same as the math science kids. So you kind of have to have those 2 different offerings where you would have more things to maybe increase the academics and those ACT scores again. Some upward trends that way. So, but it was just my thinking that would be nice.
So are you thinking the 7th and 8th grade more emphatically, I guess, or?
Yes,
or
7th and 8th grade definitely could use, like that more mature thing, and I know some people worry about the age difference. I mean, right now we have junior high kids with some really young elementary kids. I've also seen some very inappropriate flirting. Our junior high kids have been being a little bit challenging over there with some of their little issues that they've brought up lately. I just think we have that other wing. It would be pretty easy maybe to move those 2 high school teachers over here. That could be dedicated to the middle school. The teacher's lounge really doesn't get used that much. It's kind of just a storage collection of things that could be put in. You guys have a lot of storage in this building. Other places. And you could let the middle schoolers use the bathroom across from the office only, so that you would always have somebody watching who's going in and out, so you wouldn't have bathroom issues between high schoolers and junior high, and high schoolers would have to use this. I think it would be pretty easy that way. I do see that our locker room issue would be one of the biggest concerns, with only 2 locker rooms here. Not
Would
only did we
we
have
need to bus them back down for football, volleyball, basketball, so that they are with the middle school teams?
So how the rule reads is if you want your 6th graders to participate in it, they all have to be in the same building. So that's an interesting dynamic. So if we were to move just 7th and 8th grade up, we wouldn't be able to have them play, the 6th graders come up and play. So my thought was having 6th, 7th, and 8th grade be as a topic of moving up. That's kind of our junior high anyways. They rotate through classes pretty well. And that would be my idea. When it comes to like dressing out and those things, I think that if we dressed out, we could dress out in different periods. We could even have different lunch periods. So those are just different things that we've been kind of kicking around. With the whole guise of upping the level of rigor through the building and having kids with opportunities to be more involved in the things that they currently are not involved in.
But then they might have an opportunity to see the 1X team, to see the speech team and think this is something I want to do, because we don't have a lot of participation going on in those right now. They're pretty important thing for kids to definitely participate in. It'd be amazing to have a full speech team. like speech. So, yeah, there would just be a lot of different things with that locker room thing that we had happen last year. So we know the locker room situation isn't the best anyway. So coming up with maybe 2 other locker rooms would probably be the trickiest thing.
So you keep the junior high for their sports up here?
Yeah.
Would you do the games in Gurley? Because I think that would be something that the community down there would be really,
Yeah,
like that.
I think I'm going to go on the opposite side of that. I think we have an amazing facility here that I think
Yes.
our kids really want to play at.
Okay.
Our football field down there is tough. And I think, we've heard from our coaches about, it's a more difficult place to field games. It's a little bit nicer up here to play. The kids kind of look forward to playing in the main stuff.
And then you're gonna have that combined equipment stuff, like the tackling dummies, all that kind of stuff that would be used.
It also gets us away from painting 2 fields, that type of stuff. Things that, that are time consuming for sure. What else did you have?
And I didn't have a lot of cons, just that, except I think the locker room issue needs to be addressed anyway for when there's visiting teams. So if you had a high school locker room and a junior high, then the junior high clear out when we have the other teams in. So then we have 4 locker rooms that boys and girls are gonna have to share. And leave phones on floors and weird stuff like that.
How about hallway lockers? That might be a problem.
We can move them.
And
Yeah.
Over to the other wing.
And there's a lot of these that don't even get used. So, and I think that would be that big a thing. But has,
This topic came up when I was on the board before, and I was very adamantly against it back in my teenage years when I was on the board before. It's just, and with the change of times, the change of necessities for kids and the increase of things that they're expected to learn, I am more open to learning more about this.
From my perspective as a dad in having a kid come through 6th, 7th, and 8th grade here was a lot different than what my daughter experienced as far as course offerings. And that was something that I just really want out of our school, to just be competitive with other schools in the area. I know we lost a lot of kids to Bridgeport a couple of years ago, and I don't think that they had a lot of beef with our staff here. I think when they saw the course offerings that they were able to do in Bridgeport, that could really, you can do this and this and this. Well, yeah, I think that's something that we have to consider to be competitive in a level. That might not be the most popular thing to hear, but I really feel like we have but an opportunity here to think about, one, keeping our kids safe. That's a priority. But also leveling up on our expectations of what our kids can do. And I think exposing them to more earlier could greatly impact our school. So I'm kind of with Paula here on this. We just thinking about just the tradition of excellence that our building and getting that started a little earlier. That's what I think.
And as you see, we're kind of alone in keeping those two separate anyway. I mean, Sydney, yes, there's two buildings there, but if there's one lunchroom, there's, I mean, they have commons areas, their pottery brought the 7th and 8th graders over, not the 6th graders. There's never really been an issue. I think Bridgeport, you're pretty much in the same building. I mean, most of the schools around there, there's not that big a distance between the middle school and high schools, and a lot of buildings are shared. So,
Barron shares one hallway. So there is zero separation between high schoolers and middle school kids from 7th and 12th grade.
Well, this building was built for K through 12.
Yeah.
there's room here to house a few more kids.
So I had a couple questions. One of your pros is, it allows them to take additional offering of classes, elective classes, intro to ag, industrial technology, business. How much is that going to deplete from our high school students being able to take additional classes?
Well,
Because those teachers are now teaching a 6th, 7th, or 8th grade class, possibly 2. They're not gonna be able to offer additional classes for the high school students.
yeah, it would take some planning, but I think there would only really be one class period that you would be taking away. Because they would only get a quarter of each. They would rotate through and have like exploratory classes through the same class period.
Okay, so you'd eliminate one class or
But,
1, 2, 3, 4 classes that could be taught, possibly.
well,
From
and
a-
if you really break down our schedule, and where we have like the 2 elective blocks for band choir pretty much set aside, where there's no electives being taught right then. The same thing happens, let's go with first hour. Seniors can opt out of not being here, first or last hour. Freshmen are in a core class, sophomores in a core class, and juniors are in a core class. So all of those elective teachers are vying for the handful of leftover seniors. And so there's about 4 blocks a day then where your elective teachers only have one class of kids separated into all those different classes.
Okay.
Is that something you could kind of work up a model for us to look at?
I kind of
So that we
have
can
started
kind of-
working on
okay.
one, but I wasn't sure, like, some parameters, like what direction everybody would really want to go before I got too crazy, but,
It could be
It's a lot of-
interesting to
it's a
see the
lot of
thought
work.
process behind it.
yeah. 'Cause it's a lot of work kind of just enabling just the high school now, just with that your teachers, you don't have teachers that don't have classes that aren't making, or they don't even have students in them, and we have a few classes right now, I think, that did not make. We had no kids in Spanish 1 or 2, and I know that's a DL class, but nobody opted to take those at all this year. And so, yeah, I don't think it would really, I think it could possibly enhance by sharing those teachers. I know the middle school teachers, some of them only have a K-8 endorsement anyway, which would make it difficult, but Mr. Hutton teaches 2 geometry classes now anyway, and 2 algebra 2 classes. So you could kind of combine those and make things work a little bit, but then you have Mr. Newkirk, who's an excellent math teacher. Maybe he could do like the 9th grade algebra 1, to pick up the slack, because right now he's only teaching as a math teacher, 3 math classes a day.
Classes.
So actually, he could probably help with not only the junior high, but with some of the high school classes that we need to.
Yeah, they could probably do some crossover and some working and stuff. I know that, you don't wanna take too many deans on having people
Right.
work outside of their certification, but
How many teachers do you think would come up here from Gurley? 3?
we only need the three, because we only have 3 middle school teachers. So, Valley would be teaching language arts, and if we decided to break it out up into 2 different ones, she would have 6 periods a day anyway in English language arts. Between the reading lit for 3 grades and the writing workshop for 3 grades. So she would be busy. Mr. Newkirk, like I said, he teaches 3 math classes and a science class. Not that he's real crazy about teaching that science class, but he does it. And Mr. Michaelman teaching 3 social studies and a science class. I think if we could just maybe,
Better
Improve
utilize
on
our
it.
staff.
yeah, staff utilization would be a big one. But they would be doing more than,
Do we need our 6th grade to field a team?
Sometimes,
Yeah.
next year probably.
So I have a question for Ella. So can you think back to the 6th grade and 7th grade, 8th grade? How do you feel about it, since you're one of our leading seniors?
I think offering the advanced classes would have been something I might have liked. Like, are you talking like sports wise or like? the whole-
Probably the whole
Just as
package,
a,
because
like a
it's,
general 6th grader coming up here,
Um,
yay or nay, kind of a thing, you know?
I mean, for me, I don't think as like intimidation, I don't think many kids, I think a lot of the time were like pretty in, like up at the high school, at least I was, I had siblings up at the high school, so I was around here a lot. So I was kind of used to it, but like, I think offering the higher classes would definitely be something, because once you get your normal like algebra 2 and geometry, then you can go up to like dual credit, and then people can start taking college algebra. Like I took college algebra last semester, and then they can take like college trig or something like that. But and then the sports, I think it'd be probably the same. I don't know what much difference it would be, maybe, but I think
I
that
grew up
could
in
be
the
a
southeast wing, K through 6. 7th and 8th grade was
Actually, never
definitely
been the
different.
same.
I mean, that was a different level of people, and more like the high school. When you hit 7th grade, it seemed like, yeah,
Can I comment?
sure.
I think a benefit would be, number one I can think of is like specifically our sciences. I know like for Ella, for example, she grew up in Gurley, able to go to a science room with a specified science teacher, which initiated her love of science, and now that she wants to continue that in college. It's hard for the teachers who are endorsed in it to teach it when they're not in the lab, they're not getting the microscopes, they're not getting the things. So like right now, Mr. Henderson has open periods right now where kids aren't taking classes that could open up to do a different level, or even just offer physical science or junior high science, here, and just get them in the lab, get their hands on things that they aren't able to have the exposure to just because we don't have the opportunity. When Miss Felster was here with Ella, she was able to go to a science thing, a week-long science thing in 7th grade in Denver for a week, that she was able to just initiate that, and I love this, But if we don't offer it, they don't know if they love it or not. And it's hard to do it. The way that we're doing it, they're doing the best, but we could be better, in the math and the sciences, and just give the opportunity for Nick to share his love of math to more kids, the opportunity to teach a different upper level if he has the endorsement or whatever. But, having the kids ready, I know having 4 kids who have gone through and, the transition from 8th grade to 9th grade is very, very difficult. And if they're not getting the rigor in 8th grade, they hit high school. It almost takes an entire, almost a whole first quarter to really feel comfortable and get going. And if we can offer that sooner, and like Mr. Haley and Natasha both have 1 or 2 kids in a first period class. So we have those those introductory ones during first period when all of the high school kids are really wanting more of the electives later in the day. You know, so the schedule kind of right now may work to have those introductory classes for the CTE start off the day with those, especially if we're just doing a quarter-wise.
And this is amazing lab that you guys put in across here. I mean, that was pretty impressive, but it doesn't get used every day. I mean, so you could even have a schedule of using that lab room. And somebody could be in the lecture, so in the science lecture hall, while somebody's using the lab too. I mean, you could really be using that facility a lot more. It would be pretty cool. And we have the 3D printers that I don't think we have it in the schedule where these kids are getting their hands on it and learning how to program that. I know I went to a thing with a shop teacher that turned the shop into a business. So they had a business buy them this great big machine tool that was all also where you had to use your computer brain to program this whole thing. He said, I never learned how to do it. The students do it all. So I mean, where you can combine that kind of thing with some other skills like that, like, nobody can just go in there and, you know, do a new camshaft with a motor without programming this machine to do it. And then they were able to do this and sell the parts to machine shops in town.
So one more time, how would we affect our English in reading?
Well, that was maybe being able to have the 2 different class periods for the 7th and 8th graders. And again, just maybe upping the rigor when they get into high school and they're not going.
So if you think of it like physical therapy, you get a prescribed amount of time, and we're getting an hour where they could be getting 2 hours or 2.5 hours, and in a way where they're just getting more opportunities to learn those things. So what they're expected to do as juniors in high school is to take a full 50-minute test on just grammar. I mean, it's insane, and we're barely hitting that with what we're able to do in the classroom now. So 7th and 8th graders getting the grammar and reading, and then backing it up with a writer's workshop is an opportunity to get more time devoted towards reading.
Like every ACT English portion has 4 positive questions on it. You ask these kids if they know how to punctuate on a positive. They don't have any idea what a positive is. And they look at you like,
But we did buy a reading curriculum though, so that is
and so,
that is new. So
just, extra practice with that, because, it's either a comma at the beginning and the end, or no commas, writer's choice. But you can't have one at the beginning and not one at the end, or one at the end and not at the beginning. I mean, just easy little punctuation. I mean, those are 4 questions that could be easy, but when they have no idea, because English just doesn't seem to get that much time.
So I'm sitting here thinking, we used to do all these things in Gurley. We had science, we had a shop class. Why did we drop it all? Why don't we still do this? I took shop in Gurley, had a science teacher, had an English teacher, a history teacher.
I think
don't get where we're just.
I think when the full-time science teacher left or retired, I don't know if we could find somebody, yeah.
I'm just wondering why we can't still do this.
I think that needs a number of time, like we said, where Mr. Newkirk's only teaching 3 math classes. So then you get a shop teacher, are they only gonna teach 1 shop class there?
I'm looking at this and you're saying we can go to 5 core classes if they're in Dalton. Why can't we have 5 core classes in Gurley? Is it just a lack of teachers, or the teachers we have aren't qualified to teach some of this stuff?
Or like in Mr. Newkirk's case, why couldn't he teach, instead of 3, why couldn't he teach 5 or 6 different math classes down there, which would give them the extra learning, take the higher end 8th grade, higher end 7th grade, lower end 7th, lower end 8th. It'd be the same as if you move them here, right? Because then let's just give them a jump up as freshmen.
Well, that would be another way to do it, but then you're still not gonna have, you're gonna have that many more teachers, like, you can't have Natasha traveling and Mr. Haley traveling. I mean, you already have Wendy and Mr. Oaks traveling back and forth, so how many teachers?
We can't.
And so, in order to
We
really.
can't have Mr. Haley traveling.
Where was the shop when you went through?
It
Where
was
all
Where
your
Megan's
offices
office
are
is.
where Megan's office is at. It was
Okay.
before you walked into the music.
In the music.
Okay, I just
He
wasn't
just
sure.
don't have
I,
equipment if he travels down.
Because back when I was in junior high, there was 5 or 6 teachers that traveled.
Yeah.
Your high school teachers were teaching down there.
I just, we seem to have gotten away from a lot of that, and I don't know how well, I mean, we're gonna add the 5th core class here, and their practice is gonna go to an hour. I don't understand how you're fitting all this in. What are they dropping that
Those
they're
are just
doing now?
proposals, just proposals.
Traveling is about a
2 periods.
class period per day if you go down, because then you lose that. I mean, and,
Just-
yeah.
50 minutes to drive 6 miles?
No, but what are you gonna do with the kids when your teacher's not there? And then,
Our class times don't run the exact same between Dalton and Gurley.
I know,
Yeah, they're off. so-
But a teacher still has to pack up, leave, get there, set up, then pick up, come back. It's a lot. They're just.
This would be a major step.
Oh, yeah.
it would be.
But I mean,
I'm not saying, I'm just saying it's.
Well, and
staff and facility.
I'm still trying to
utilization.
figure out where you're getting enough classrooms up here. How you're gonna move those 2 large classrooms someplace else in this building.
Well, the sped room, and we have 3 kids that use that room.
Okay, where they gonna
So, and Mr. Henderson had nobody in health science, so there's nobody using the health science room where Cody has his little office. That could be the sped room, so either English or history could be over there. Our DL room is kind of obsolete right now, so we might pick up some Spanish again. But, yeah, there's,
So there's, you
Yeah,
figured out your classrooms,
yeah,
but
in the ag
there's a
room,
teacher's lounge that we gotta figure something where that stuff's gonna
Yeah.
go.
right there.
Yeah.
Right where.
That little room right there that has a sink and everything in it.
Yeah, I've been in that room, that ain't gonna fit in
They have
there.
all that
Nobody
paperwork.
goes in there, that's just it.
I'm just saying that the stuff in that room isn't gonna fit in that little room.
Well, you mean all that storage stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, then you have this old AV closet that's just full of magazines that are just dust collectors. Clean it out, you could use that as the paper storage closet, I think that would be way handier for the,
Could you
ladies in
move
the
wrestling
office?
to the stage?
what's that?
Could you
No.
move wrestling to the stage? No? Okay.
I wouldn't, let's put it that way, I wouldn't do it. I've seen it done on stage and.
We're sitting in the English room. That was Dave's room over there.
When I was there,
He's over there.
Or we're
The
down
first
one.
yeah.
Yeah, that was math.
Math and computers.
Math and computer, and then the next set over was those 2. Anyhow, that's why there's a position.
Yeah, I mean, it would involve planning, there's no doubt.
So,
But if we were able to move everybody there for our pre-K,
I agree that like the going from 8th grade to scary. But now what about the kids that are going from 5th to 6th? Because now they're coming here, is that equally scary?
well, of course.
I mean, so now you're dealing with a younger kid that's intimidated and before we did anything, I'd sure like, is there a feeling as what the parents of 6th graders would think about this?
talked to a couple of them.
For the parents of 5th graders.
So,
Parents of 5th graders?
many
I mean,
and
I just, it almost would have to be unanimous support for me to say, yeah, let's do this. But
About 13 apiece.
Oh, thank you.
one thing that makes us different, like you said, every school around has it. In the last 3 years, our enrollment's up 80-some kids. A lot of credit to you two for what you've done. I don't see how making that makes us look better. And we did lose a chunk of kids out of Bridgeport. There was an incident. Since then, I haven't seen a large chunk of kids leave. It's something different, something we've always done. Maybe that makes us different. I mean, our enrollment's kicking butt. that one chunk of kids that left didn't leave because those core classes. And then my other question was more time. You said you hear all these kids bored, they're just talking, right? Well, if all we're gonna do is give them an extra hour of English, just sitting in that classroom for now you're from 1 hour to 2 hours. Me personally, I wouldn't learn better. I've been like, no, I don't wanna do 2 hours, right?
The curriculum is for 2 hours though. So it's like you section it out, so it's a 2 hour block of time, and we're just running out of time.
Okay.
That's just,
If
Trying to
kids
break
are,
your
yeah, if
percent
kids are just bored, I'm just like, well, why are we just gonna show them the same class?
Yeah.
They're not bored. They just don't wanna be here.
So make them do more of that
They're
same
seeing it
thing.
as
is-
pointless because I could be sitting in my room, in my bed doing what I do here and I don't even have to be here. So.
This is at the high school or the junior high level that they're saying that?
The high school level. It's just been kind of sad. I mean, we lost a few last year because they just couldn't be here. It just gave them too much anxiety. I was just too nervous, you know. Just a cultural thing right now, a little bit, but how do you shift it? How do you get kids more involved in school activities and wanting to be here? One of the other things I tried to bring up with the kids was the story of a young lady that walked in my office at Potter. I know my mom says, I gotta come ask you for some scholarships, Mrs. Wolf. Like, well, all right, well, let's take a look at, you know, the different scholarships, and I knew I wasn't gonna have any for this young lady. She had like around a 2.5 GPA, nothing, you know, stellar there. I said, well, so throughout your high school years, did you do any sports? No. You didn't play volleyball? No. Basketball? No. Track? Golf? No. Well, cheerleader, were you a cheerleader? No. Band and choir, there's lots of scholarships for band and choir. No. Speech, 1X? No. I knew the answers to all of these, but basically she came to school, spent her day at school, and left. And we have quite a few of those kids that are coming to school, spending their day here, and leaving, and never coming back for anything. So I think sometimes the junior high, maybe being more involved with the high school, might make them feel more, there's no promises, might make them feel more inclined to want to participate in stuff if they're seeing other people be successful, or it looks fun, or there's more awareness. I don't know. But we have a lot of kids that come, and unfortunately, it's a lot of our option students that come, and then their parents don't want to have to come pick them up later or bring them back for anything. And so they just become completely uninvolved students.
So I 100% think we need to do better by the junior high kids. We need to offer more. Have we exhausted every way we can do that in Gurley? Without flipping this whole thing upside down. Is
The
there a
most
way-
obvious one's
Is
the
there a way
science
to make it
If we could get
make it better?
this science room, if our junior high could utilize that, I mean, we put a pile of money into that. That's the only one that's tremendously obvious,
It's
but
just
other than
so
the
crowded
kids,
over there, facility-wise, that building is packed.
it's got 75% of our kids in Yearly right now, 70%. Probably underutilizing Dalton a little bit.
Oh, heckling. Sam, when you were in the elementary building, there were 190
Yeah, we're big.
There was
some kids?
20 kids per class.
Yeah.
But you got your locker room issue here, and you got your, and, you know, Gurley's a nice gym, nice floor, it's, so.
And just to clarify, this is not something, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is not something that we were looking at doing next year, this would be down the road.
Sure.
I would, I
It's not-
personally, when we read this, like, I thought of the preschool, and like, I would think community workshops get the people here, let's hear them, talk to them. The 2 times you've done it, it's been an awesome turnout, people showed up, spoke out. I feel like that's one that needs to be,
Just like we did with the preschool.
yeah, worked on for a while anyways.
Yeah, and I can see, I can see more positives that I used to see, that I used to, you know, back in, I don't know, 10, 20 years ago. I can see positives to both and negatives to both. And I just don't know how do you decide that it's worth it?
That's
Yeah.
what you guys get to do.
Yeah.
I'm
And I think we need
just
to talk
throwing
more
out
and
just
and
some
make
things I
better.
was seeing that seemed like
Well,
we can.
What's in the science room now in Gurley?
Art.
And that's just half the day.
I will tell you, 4 years ago, I was adamantly against it because I had a soon-to-be 6th grade daughter, and I did not want her in this building with the high school boys.
Right.
And 2 of them were brothers, but still, I didn't want her up here. And
They had some protection.
that's what I didn't, that age gap when they are learning about themselves is not the time to introduce them to negative
Older
things.
boys. Right.
They know more than
So, they know more, yeah, they know more by that time.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I'm just wondering, can it be used as both? Like, can't they use the art room for science half the day?
I
Get some lab
don't
equipment,
know.
get some
I
lab
think we
equipment
need
down
to-
there so they can do
To
some.
do that, I
They
think we
always
need
do
a
it.
teacher that was a science
Yeah.
teacher. Because
Yes.
when you don't, when, as a sped teacher, I wouldn't know how to teach science. I could
Science
teach
is
them how to
kind of
bake
a-
cookies and do all of that, but.
Science is
like-
kind of a nose goes, like, who wants to do science?
Right,
Unless you got the passionate person with science, and like,
and if there's a science / industrial arts or something out there that, you know, I don't know, I just think all aspects need to be investigated. You know.
I just, like,
Yeah.
the facility and the size of the students getting served here versus the size, the group of students getting served there, all the different ESU people that come in. I mean, you have to have a space for your speech people, there's extra mental health people that come in. There's a lot of people in and out of that building looking for space all the time. And, you know, once you do a pre-K, I think we lost some teachers because of not having a daycare. You know, that helped Potter a lot, opening that daycare and keeping young families there. There were teachers that were having children could stay, they could see their kids in the day and things. Just facility usage alone would be a big thing to consider.
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Sure.
Thanks. Ready to move on? Your time to shine. Student board member report.
I was like, get here in 5 minutes.
You can blame your mom.
Although you did participate.
Like most, thank you for having me. I'm Ella Haley, I'm the president of STUCO. Also, I'd like to just apologize for not being here last few meetings, sorry. We have held 3 official meetings since the last presentation at the board meeting. For our volunteering, me and Macy, it was just us 2 last time at the Community Shepherd's Food Pantry that we do when it's every month. And that was on March 1st. We've been doing our peer-to-peer tutoring program, and it's not just STUCO members doing it, it's mostly it's seniors who are being the tutors, but anybody can come in. We've seen some progress in that, and students' grades have been improving, so hopefully we get some people who come in themselves, but I also try to seek out kids, like during study halls, I'll go to like the English room or something, and if they are asking Ms. Hanks something and they need help out, and there's too many people, I'll offer my stuff, because sometimes they don't wanna come into the library where we hold the tutoring, so I try to get that bridge the gap. And our annual strawberry fundraiser was successful. We got a profit of $1,702. We did have some troubles of meeting our minimum of selling just the flats. So we made chocolate covered strawberries.
A lot.
Yeah, yeah, to be able to get rid of all the strawberries, and we ended up, I think, making even more money from that by selling the chocolate covered strawberries.
Those were a big hit,
Yeah.
those basketball games.
I was the making them. There was kids who were like, "Oh, they're gone." I'm like, "Hold on, give me 5 minutes. I'll go make you some." And I made like another, batch of them. But yeah, that was really.
They were delicious.
It was their
really
idea. They had a great idea, and they made them, and it was great.
And if you go to a Rockies game, that's like one of the biggest.
Yeah, on the
sellers.
skewers. Yeah, maybe next year we do it on skewers. I don't know.
We're planning to do an Easter egg hunt. They did it last year, and Stuco's looking to take it over this year, just to get some school involvement. And Stuco is planning a field trip, I guess, or just an activity for everybody, all the members. We're hoping to go to a Rockies game in Boondocks, and that'll be like the day after school's out, or at least for regular school. For the treasurer's report, as of February 28th, 2025, our checking account balance is $4,226.52. And we have no other future fundraisers for this year. We are looking to do some type of school improvement project. Not sure exactly what it is. We're hoping to send out a survey. We don't usually get a lot of responses on those, but we'll look at it. We've been thinking about seating. The couches and the multi are starting to wear down a lot, so hopefully that's something we can do.
We've been kind of going Amazon basic with those, so if you wanted to do something a little bit more durable, I mean, we have catalogs and stuff.
Yeah, because they were kind of thinking like waiting room style, like cubicle, kind of cube space that you can rearrange or do different stuff versus just the
Funky,
couches.
yeah.
Yeah, just kind of change it up.
Yeah. We saw something on like a college visit that we went to in Greeley. There's like some seating. I took a picture of it because I thought it might work good in the multi, but it was kind of expensive.
It's
So we'll have
really
to
expensive. So.
workshop that. So.
You're thinking about home when you're away at college.
And do you guys have any questions I can bring back?
Are you gonna take over the egg hunt at the Legion Hall, at the park, or doing something on
It
your
was
own?
like during school hours. Yeah.
Gotcha, okay.
Yeah. It was-
I was confused, sorry.
I've got to add a detail. Ella, as I'm starting to know her a little bit, she's ever the humble one. That, when they were there that morning for Community Shepherds, it was, the night before was the basketball game in North Platte. And they played their hearts out. And when I had to watch it on my TV,
Right,
but
yeah.
I said, there's no way that they'll be there in the morning, and they were. So, notice she didn't mention that.
We enjoy going to that. It's one of our highlights of the month, so. May, excuse me.
I suppose we can make you sit here long enough.
Thanks, Ella.
Yeah, thank you.
Cool thing about their tutoring, the teachers kind of came up with a rotating study hall, which is really kind of gained some steam. And, with the teachers kind of bought into it, the students are buying into it, and there's been several kids that are just working their tails off on getting it, and it's in large part to do with what they're doing, so it's also a thrill.
Okay, do we have any board reports?
No, that's fine.
By the way, Mrs. Haley's always at the Community Shepherds too, helping.
Gotta supervise.
And
Supervise the good kids that don't need supervision. No, it's pretty easy.
She's the ranger.
I just chat. They work.
You're there to visit.
Yeah, exactly.
No, she works.
All right, we'll move on to the principal's report.
Okay, parent-teacher conferences were held on the 13th of February. The elementary and junior high were pretty well attended. The high school was less attended due to some scheduling conflicts, and most of the high school teachers were gone with the high school team that got moved to that night. That's since been kind of remedied on the new calendar coming up. The junior high basketball teams finished up their seasons at the MAC tournament at Garden County on the 13th as well. Congratulations to their players and coaches on their season. High school boys wrestling finished up their season at districts at Sutherland. Matthew Swerwer was the only wrestler to compete at districts. The other members were Isaac Rody and Aaron Gutierrez. So congratulations to them for finishing up their competitions. We hosted high school girls subs the week of the 17th. There were several delays due to weather. Thanks to everyone who helped during the tournament, Dakota Gamble for all his work with the reschedules during that week. We hosted boys sub-districts on the week of the 24th. Again, thanks to everyone who helped with the tournament. Congratulations to the boys team and their coaches on their seasons. The girls competed in the district final on 28th at North Platte St. Pat's. Again, congratulations to the players and coaches on a successful season. Shawnee Gamble and Lila McLaughlin competed at MAC speech competition in South Platte on March 1st. Shawnee placed second in humorous, third in serious. Lila placed fourth in poetry and fifth in serious. The elementary held various activities for Dr. Seuss Week. Thank you to all who organized and participated. Mrs. Rathman, Mrs. Shoemaker, Mrs. Kessler, and I attended an MTSS training in Sydney with ESU 13 on March 4th. Then Mr. McLaughlin tagged in with Mrs. Rathman and I to complete the ESU 13 needs assessment for the upcoming year. The FFA competed in Kimball on Wednesday, March 5th. Riley Benish received a white ribbon in the ground meet. Mercedes Heidemann received a red ribbon, and Lila received a blue in nursery and landscaping. The team placed second, and those members are Lila McLaughlin, Mercedes Heidemann, Caleb Miller, Laura Urick, and Avi Cranmore. And if I'm not mistaken, they qualified for state.
Yeah.
Okay, I was a little unclear on that, but I since gotten a touch of clarity.
It's the craziest competition ever, so. But on the plus side, you know, with we had kids getting ribbons, and they're studying, and it's been a difficult run, but we're having success. And that speaks to the kids and their gumption, so that's good.
So the full team qualified for state?
Lila only lost to some shattered kids. That's their only competition that they get to enroll into is nursery landscape. Cheers.
You can spend a lot of time on that.
But it's kind of like Kimball in food science. They're just really good at food science. So we're kind of piecing together a good season. So.
Nothing else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to the superintendent's report.
Under vision, mission, vision, culture, and instructional leadership, February was just like everything was just flying by. It's already, March 10th, and it just seems like there's just something going on each and every night. So I just wanted to say thank you to the staff members that put in a ton of hours in the month of February. It is insane that month. We did a lot of work this month in planning for better communication to work on the climate of the school. Specifically as it pertains to communication. So we surveyed our staff and found a 50-50 split on almost everything to do with communication. As a result, we put in 4 different things that we think will push the bar forward for our school. One of them was weekly staff meetings. Our staff overwhelmingly said that they wanted to have weekly staff meetings. Now, Charles and I have kind of narrowed it down, probably thinking that's more of an elementary request, but we're going to check it out at the high school level. We'll see if they want the high. They're just different breeds. Number 2, weekly admin meetings that kind of filter down into what we want the staff meeting to accomplish. Number 3, we wanted to fix our distribution lists so that if we have somebody leave, they're off the distribution list and we replace them with the person that takes their spot. Sounds silly, but distribution lists can sometimes leave people off. We just want to make sure that we're fixing that. And then the 4th one is just a suggestion box for addressing lingering issues. The suggestion box so far came up with, the first suggestion that came up was really great. It was just like, we wanted to know which admin staff is in the building at what time. So could you just put a sign up? So it's just a simple thing that we want our suggestion box to be useful and not like a complaining box. And I think we'll have that. Another suggestion that came up last week was, okay, YouTube's not available, but now we gotta figure out something to do with our kids during typing. So that'll come up. So we wanna make sure that those action items stay on the action items with our weekly staff meeting until they're done. So if you have a lingering student issue or lingering, just anything that's lingering out there, like, man, really, I'm bugged by this, we wanna put it on the suggestion box and get it fixed. One example was tardies. We had a bunch of kids being tardy for first hour class. I mean, we're not looking at that report as much as we needed to, and it was bugging people. So just, if it's bugging you, say something about it and let's fix it. And so I think that by opening those lines of communication, we're going to help out our school just be a better place. Our strategic plan goals were in communication and teacher effectiveness, so we really want to hit that communication and make sure that we are doing our best to meet that goal. And basically just moving ourselves over on the list. I talked with one community member, he kind of walked me through, it was at the end of last month's board meeting, he kind of walked me through some strategies that they use in their business to go from just basically like a rubric. Where are you currently, where do you want to be, and reevaluate as you go. So we're doing some of that kind of stuff with communication. Wanted to say that preschool's been a huge area of growth this year. We feel like the staff in the room, as well as the amount of students that have gone, we've just gone a long way to create an amazing learning environment for our kids. People are stepping up huge to help us. The grant helped us in a lot of ways with staff costs, room fixes, etc. Head Start was a huge, you'll see that on the bills each month. They contribute a lot of money to our building. And then even our community has been involved in it. The Elks Lodge in Sydney came through and donated thousands of dollars to our program just to make those kids have exactly what they need to be, ready to roll. So our preschool's been a real huge highlight for us this year. So I really appreciate all the work you guys did to get that thing in and going. Tonight we had an open house, and we have 10 slots open, 5 confirmed kids that signed up tonight. So when that goes a little bit more public, we're accepting more and more applications, we're going to be able to knock that out really quickly. We did have a few members that came tonight that were Sydney folks. So our goal with the program is not to fill our program and become Sydney North. That is not our goal. We are focused on our Dalton and Gurley kids and Broadwater kids. We want to fill our program with our kids first. So there will be Sydney kids, and that's great, but we are going to focus in on our kids first. So just throwing that out there for everybody. So I think we had, one Sydney kid tonight of the 5 that we had tonight. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw more of those. But if there's only 5 more spots open.
Last year that would have filled like that.
Yeah.
And then later it got.
Yeah, so we're gonna be, looking to fill those last 5. Also, Head Start has indicated that they could probably get us a couple more slots. So if we can get 7 Head Start slots, that's 7 guaranteed tuition payments from Head Start to our program. And I mean, that's a great problem to have. And that also means that the most needy kids are getting services so that we can work with them to be ready to go. So what an advantage for our community. Under Operations, Resource, and Personnel Management, staffing needs will become more clear as we wait till the end of this week for our staff to return their letters of intent. We were waiting on several of them last week, so I don't know what that's all about. but staffing will become clearer later this week. I do know right now, we did advertise for an elementary teaching position, and we will have a very qualified candidate to recommend to you guys next month. So we're very excited, really excited about the person that we have coming up. It's only a year ago when we learned about our fire system at Gurley. Man, that was a bummer. The guys were here, oh man, gosh, it took a while to get them here, but they are tearing our building apart and putting in a new fire system, and it's going. So that's awesome. And you know, phones, fire, hot water, fume mitigation, those 4 items hit us big this year. So AliCap is to be thanked for their involvement with our school, and they've saved us thousands of dollars. I forgot to even mention the roof. The roof was a $50,000 replacement, and we paid $500, or what? I think it's $500. We paid $500, and we got $50,000 worth of roof replacements. And then, you know, when our basement flooded for, that was nuts. They're covering all of that too. So we just got to make sure that we submit our bills for a $300 bill for a guy to go like this. That.
Well, you had to have a wrench.
He had to have the wrench. Yeah. If I could have found the stupid wrench, when we turned the water back on, I knew where it was. I mean, it was on for, I don't know, and maybe we caught it really early. Otherwise, that whole basement would have been just thrashed. So Heidi, Charles, and myself were squeegeeing off carpets, and I think we saved it. Under board governance and policies, you guys have hyperlinks there for the 3rd and 4th bullet, but Dave and I are going to go to the NERCSA conference coming up next week. And then we do have 2 members signed up for the Open Meetings Act on March 25th. So I do know that, you know, that meeting, I'll try to make that one as well, but the Open Meetings Act, the more that we can go to those type of meetings, the better for our whole board, as well as, you know, you get points, and then they give you water bottles that somebody just takes.
Or they give you awards that you never get.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, that's what I was referring to.
Oh.
Somebody just took her.
They picked mine up and they didn't give it to me.
Yeah, so she got the short end of the stick there. The NASB build tracker can be found by clicking on that link. I got a call from a concerned community member, like, can you believe what they're talking about doing at the legislative level? And she's like, are you guys talking about that at night? So please click on that real quick, and we'll just show you guys kind of where that's at as far as the NASB build tracker. Now, that's got all of them as far as NASB's stance on the bill, as well as...
I got a security warning. I clicked on it anyway. I got it.
If
not, Allison's got to redo everything. I was a little hesitant because Matt did the link again.
Just
He
so you
started it
know,
all.
I got hacked on my email earlier. That's why you made fun of me.
I think you clicked on something you shouldn't have clicked on.
Yeah, I clicked on something that shouldn't have.
Clicking on something
Yeah, it
right
kicked
now,
us
I
all
should.
that innocent email to everybody in the school.
Do you guys not have people that look at your email to say you should not be clicking on this stuff?
We did like 5 minutes too late.
Yeah. We got text messages later.
Yeah. So it was a phishing thing, and since we are signed up for an added additional layer of security.
Well, we were signed up for that previously, it just hasn't been implemented yet.
Yeah, it just hasn't been going yet.
Well, we know, we'll trust us. They can't sign into their computer anymore.
It's been crazy for about 10 days now.
So, you know, they have all sorts of them. So, like the one that the concerned citizen today talked with me about was just the option enrollment bill, and that was in the 500s, 557, I think. So if you scroll down to 557, it's basically what that one says is if you are denied an option, you'll receive a payment of $2,500 to just, I think it's really promoting parochial schools and private schools. So starting up those types of things is something that, you know, to us here, is something that we'd say, well, where the heck are you gonna go?
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna do? But I mean, this is obviously an Eastern Nebraska issue that they're seeing. So she said, I've been writing my senators over and over again. And then she said, you know, I also looked at some other ones. Kavanaugh had a good one LB 14 at the top of the list, that was the Hunger-Free Schools Act, which said, let's pay for the kids' meals. So there's just opportunities to read that NSB board tracker for you to be, just more, it's always been there, we just want to keep highlighting that as we go through this session. On the other one, upcoming events, I put a hyperlink in there too, so you don't have to click on that one, but you can if you want to when you go home. And that just kind of tells you what's going on for NASB as far as training opportunities. I think they had financial workshops going, as well as the Open Meetings Act one was posted as well. So the finance meetings that are going on just kind of conflict with what I have going on otherwise.
There's not one any close either.
Carney's kind of.
Last year.
Well, on the plus side, though, we paid Carl Dietz enough money where he picks up my phone every single time I call him, so that's a good thing. Yeah, he's the guy throwing the events, so, and we're paying him, I mean, we're on the cheap right now, which is fantastic. He's been really great to work with. Under our community and communications, I think that the newsletter's been pretty effective over the past couple months, just trying to keep our classroom focus areas in each newsletter. We want to keep that going. Next month we'll have another classroom or two being featured on there. But we're going to be more and more strategic about how that rolls out so that our people see and that we're telling our story. I think we tell our story based on the communication survey that I sent out. I think we're telling our story out pretty well. But what's communicated inside our four walls just needs to get better, and we're going to do the best we can to get that done. And that attaches my review blog.
Move on to the regular agenda. We don't need to excuse one regular member, so we will go do special recognition.
I could be wrong about this, but did Zaylee, she got MVP for Class D2?
That was
basketball, or was that?
That was like a side right.
Yeah, that wasn't the,
That wasn't
that was
this.
the Nebraska preps that we were
Okay.
voting on.
That
I
was
haven't
like
seen the
right,
results
right.
of that one yet.
I just seen it on the Leyton Facebook
Yeah,
page.
yeah, that was just like a side thing that was put out for other D2, but not that official.
The Journal Star and World Herald have posted their team.
They're all state teams.
Had some really remarkable basketball for three. Well, yeah, for the last 3 years we've had really, and probably even before that. I just know about the last 3. I did pay attention the year before, but it's just because one of the Bear parents got kicked out.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was pretty fun.
I make a motion that we approve everybody that Mr. Jones had in his report for special recognition.
I'll second that.
Roll call.
Mr. Borges?
Yes.
Mrs. Ernest?
Yes.
Mr. Rushman?
Yeah.
Mr. Shoemaker?
Yes.
Mr. Wiedemann?
Yes.
Mr. Benish?
Yes.
Review, consider take action regarding the minutes of the February 12th, 2025 board meeting.
I would move we accept those.
I would second it. Roll call.
Mrs. Ernest?
Yes.
Mr. Rushman?
Yeah.
Mr. Shoemaker?
Yes.
Mr. Wiedemann?
Yes.
Mr. Benish?
Yes.
Mr. Borges?
Yes. Review, consider take action regarding claims, warrants, and transfers.
Shaq got heavy with the pen this month, jeez.
Well, after the initial shock from the 100, when I just looked at the bottom figure, I'm like, oh, geez.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, that's one thing that, you
The
know,
100,000 transferred to the lunch fund, so.
Right.
those will really inflate the numbers for a bill.
And then there was the one check to Dick's Forum.
Right.
That's not gonna go through unless we approve what we're gonna approve later in the meeting. So
Yeah.
They needed money down right away to hold that price, so.
There are 1,000 sheets
Is that for
too,
the
so.
basement?
It's for the preschool room.
Oh, gotcha.
And our grant money only goes through June, so we need to get all of our
Right.
expenses for pre-K.
And the whole reason we're doing that is not because we want to have a glamorous preschool.
Right.
We just don't have our space that we have to eat on, and they have to eat in the classroom, home style or family style lunches. It's just really cramped. We got 18 of them.
From here to there, wide.
It's tight.
There to here.
And if we want to have a disgusting floor, that'll,
And we need to spend the grant money.
yeah, we want to spend our grant money.
In
Take
a appropriate
advantage.
amount of time as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
I will tell you right off the bat, I couldn't figure out why we gave Jocelyn $100,000, but then I figured out that wasn't on the right line.
Special class rate.
You about got a phone call. Well, I figured out what I was doing.
Why does the preschool have to have home style?
It's just it's a head start requirement.
It's a pre
Yeah.
requirement, yeah.
So we just do everything by the letter of the law, and it's a big law.
I
So-
guess I didn't realize, I mean, I'd like to know why.
Because I think it's, when I originally started, some of the kids weren't used to sitting down and actually
Oh, gotcha,
getting
okay.
their.
Please
you know what I
pass
mean?
the corn.
Yeah.
Okay,
And those are skills that we want our kids to
Yes.
have. And so we serve it at the table, and we're very nice, and there's an adult at every table, and it's really cool. But it's something that, like, you wanna learn those things before you sit in our lunchroom and forget all of them.
They do a good job in there, because it's madness, it's complete madness.
Teach him some high school English.
High school English is a stretch. Yeah, our concept has been really good. I mean, and I'm lucky enough to have a 3-year-old. Thank you, COVID. But those are things that, have been a real blessing for us at our house, to just see the development from 3-year-olds to little people. It's neat.
I'd like the motion to approve the claims, warrants, and transfers.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Mr. Rushman?
Yes.
Mr. Shoemaker?
Yes.
Mr. Weedman?
Yes.
Mr. Benish?
Yes.
Mr. Borges?
Yes.
Mrs. Ernest?
yes.
Will you consider and take action regarding certified staff resignations?
No certified staff resignations at this point.
None?
No.
They're
will-
they're gonna get their letter in today.
Yeah, I just, in the,
That was one of those things you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Review and consider and take action on facility use fees for the Greeley and Dalton buildings and Wake.
Okay, so last month we talked a little bit about a policy, and I forgot to mention, I spoke with Cody on a number of different occasions about like what we're charging for facility usage. We are charging right now $150, basically, when was it, August?
For
August.
school year, from
Yeah.
September through
So
August.
what we'd like to do, and make sure I'm telling the truth here, what we'd like to do is change the form to say $50 for the high school, $10 for the girly site. We just want to cover our fobs. There's some community members with asthma-related things, and just community members that want to use the girly site. And I don't see a disadvantage of having people walk on our floors and do those things at a rate that's not $150. $50, they got a little skin in the game. It's at least something on there for, and, we're really the only facility within 20 miles. So I think this would promote a little bit more healthy lifestyles, but changing our fee structure and then going from January to January.
You got calendar year?
Yeah,
too?
calendar year. Just so it's a little bit easier on everybody. August to August, sometimes we'll get one and they'll get it in June. You're like, that's $150 for 2 months. So I just think it's just getting a little bit more on the open side. So that's my recommendation to the board for $50 and $10, and then going from January to January.
Isn't there any of this in policy?
This was listed as a facility usage form last month for policy, and the facility usage form was voted on by the board to be $150 straight across going August to August.
You just want to change that policy? Is that
Change
what
the
you
facility usage form. So it's just a form.
It's just a form.
Yeah. It's in policy for, that there can be a fee associated with it.
And I don't remember when we did the form, it was probably 8-9 years ago, maybe?
We changed it, I was on the board when we changed it.
Didn't you
That was probably 6, 7 years ago. Yeah, we'll be up to feet.
We got cameras everywhere, right? I mean, that's the thing, is if you're stupid,
Your
you're
five
caught
tells
and
you.
you're done.
Your Bob tells you who's in.
Right,
Yeah.
so it's,
No,
I
it's
would say
just-
there's 3 or 4 people coming in one night, we're gonna have an idea who did it, and.
I'm
see it.
sitting over in Bridgeport watching a boys' baseball game, had their people coming in all over the place. So they're fobbing everywhere. And they got, I mean, I think it just is an opportunity for us to better utilize our facilities and just open them up more to our community members if they
And
choose
is
to
it
do
still, is this door back there that needs to, that they have to use, or do they,
Yeah, they-
does this one up here work now?
No.
They use this one.
Okay. Okay.
Because when I set up the fobs, there is a separate category for weight room,
Okay.
and they can't use any of the other doors, just the weight room door.
I'd move to change the facility usage form to match recommendations of August to August and $50 a year. January to January. Sorry, Matt.
50 in Dalton and 10 in
Gurley.
I'll second that.
Roll call.
Mr. Shoemaker?
Yes.
Mr. Wiedemann?
Yes.
Mr. Benish?
Yes.
Mr. Borges?
Yes.
Mrs. Ernest?
Yes.
Mr. Rushman?
Yes.
Review, consider and take action regarding voting on NASB legislative seat number 15.
Okay, so Susie signed up for something that she's awesome. So this is needs to
Getting
be
another cup.
So she signed up for legislative committee member number 15, and we have to vote as a board for either Jason Bishop of Perkins County or Susie Ernest of Leyton. So I mean, we just have to vote as a board for who we would like.
Who's this guy from Perkins
Yeah.
County?
I know
It's all right,
Jason.
you
I know Jason pretty well.
Oh, you do know.
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
What's your
So, yeah, I would say if Susie, you want to do it, more power to you. I think that's a good thing for us, to have local people on boards or on the legislative committee. So if you want to do it,
I
you wouldn't have
signed up for it just
yeah.
because I thought, that would at least get me to read stuff, if I have to, otherwise it's like, oh, they sent it to me again, all right.
So, you have to vote, or just make the motion that we want?
Yeah, we just make a motion to vote for Susie, cast our school's ballot for that.
I will make the motion that Leyton Public Schools cast our vote for Susie for legislative seat number 15.
I'll second.
Get all that?
Mhm.
Okay, roll call.
Mr. Wiedemann?
Yes.
Mr. Benish?
Yes.
Mr. Borges?
Yes.
Mrs. Ernest?
Should I vote or should I abstain? Okay. I'll vote.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, she said yes.
Mr. Rushman? Mr. Shoemaker?
Yes.
Right, do we have a printed off thing of that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll sign up.
Would you mind if I gave that to you like Wednesday or something? I'm like ready right now. Is that okay?
I suppose.
When does it have to be, when does it have to be back?
Do something?
I'll just.
Oh, by
make copies
21st,
after
by the
we-
21st.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Sounds good.
Thanks. I have to hit the ground running after the meeting and go to Lincoln again, so.
Review and consider and take action regarding policies 3039 through 3057.
This was a loaded set of policies. So any clarifying questions or anything like that as far as that goes, I'd be happy to talk about.
I got one.
Just one?
Just one this month. I just thought on 3040,
Yeah.
the school's facilities should not be used for funeral and memorial services during the day. Do we just need to change the wording on that?
Because we did it.
We did it.
We broke policy.
Yeah.
I'm not mad we did, but do we need to just change that so where it's,
I think that'd be appropriate.
Is there any ramification for breaking policy?
The only thing that, if you break policy, is that you set a precedent.
Sure.
that's, so let's fix it before we.
And it was,
Let's fix our own mistake.
I mean, it was, I think initially it was planned and asked for like a Saturday, wasn't it? And
I don't
the
know.
mortuary wasn't able to, there was a lot going
I think
on.
initially we were gonna have school still.
But,
Yeah.
you know, and like the way you put it though, like that day, we wouldn't have had enough subs to cover teachers gone. So while we say we don't do it during school day, I mean, everybody's
I
gone, we
would
don't
say
have a
we've already
choice.
set the precedent.
So
So now
Yeah.
we probably should change the policy.
Or the wording, some way.
Does it just not, it just needs to be at the superintendent's discretion?
Puts you in a pretty tight spot if you say no to the next guy.
It does.
We need to keep the in school, yeah, it's tough. Or
I don't see it happening a lot, but. it could
How about we
happen.
just take out the word not? The
Well, I
school's
think
facilities
that-
may be used for funeral or memorial services during the school day.
If approved by.
I think the superintendent would need to. I
Could
mean,
you
there's
put
a-
that on the
there-
board, unless approved by the board and administration, that way it doesn't come back on you guys and we have to be the bad ones to say,
Yeah,
"Oh,
it could be,
that."
we could definitely do that, but I just see this as a special board meeting.
Right.
That's what I
type
was
thing.
saying too.
Because
Just-
sometimes you won't have time.
Cause you'll have 3 days to say, or
Yeah.
1 day to say yes or no.
Yeah. And in this case, we had a week, so we could have called a special board meeting. I think we did the right thing.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know we
Yeah,
did
I'm
it
not
right.
mad
I
at it.
absolutely did it right.
Yeah.
And I think when you get into smaller schools, smaller towns,
Rural
there isn't a
Nebraska with less
facility,
mortuaries.
there isn't a
and things like
facility that would,
Um,
that would handle
Facility.
that big of a thing. And I think just adding, discussion with the superintendent or, superintendent and board president.
But I hate leaving not that it's gonna matter, because I don't give a vote anymore, but I hate leaving policies gray.
Yeah.
That's why, just take out the word not.
Doesn't that leave it gray?
May be used for funeral, whose
May be
discretion?
used for funeral, you are allowed to.
Whose
Yeah.
discretion? At whose discretion?
Yes.
Superintendent's.
I'd say
Superintendent.
superintendent, like
But
everything
Ryan's
else.
right, if you just say may, you may. You may not, but you may.
You really can't say no if you word it that
You
way.
can say no. You may use it. It's not can.
Well, we can run that one through the lawyer for
I mean,
sure.
this is-
Yeah,
That's,
Yeah.
that's one that I think
Is this high school?
it will be easy enough to run through the lawyers.
Yeah.
Too soon, Chad, too soon.
Everything else looked good, pretty boring to me.
I had one question on 3039, where it was talking about I left my note at home.
You're okay.
Was that, were they meaning the SRO?
Oh, okay, so,
There was a legal or a law person in there that I didn't know if it needed to be if we needed to change it.
Threat assessment.
3039?
Yeah,
Obligation to report threatening statements, behaviors, threat assessment, investigation, response, communication with the public. report
this one's
events.
titled Law Enforcement Unit as Primary Investigator.
yeah, law enforcement unit, and then
So-
there was another law enforcement something or other, that I didn't know.
The next one was the SRO. So there's two different ones that were back to back, that was one
Okay.
of them was SRO.
Yeah, so does it matter that we don't have an SRO?
No,
And
um,
we just have the policy, so in case we have
Cheyenne
it?
County, the investigation.
Okay,
yeah.
all right,
So
I just
any-
didn't know if it needed clarification.
Anything that's criminal is reported to the police, is what this policy is saying. So like, if we get, or the sheriff. So if we get a kid that's caught vaping, like that's against the law,
Yeah.
we'll have a sheriff's deputy here. Or touch base with them.
Yeah.
So those are the things that, every single time that, like if you had a fight at school, God forbid, you should call the police to investigate it. And it will
I just
go our
wasn't
part as
sure
well.
about the 3-digit law, whoever,
Oh.
SRO or whatever. I didn't know if it doesn't need
It's
to be
just if you had
clarified,
an
then,
SRO.
Yeah, we don't have a memo of understanding with
All right.
SRO any longer, so we'll keep the policy in case we.
okay, that was one of my questions.
Then a lot of it was, some things that were very interesting as far as contracts, which I think that when I read those policies, I was flabbergasted. So, yeah,
Well,
Design
Title
build
IX's gonna be
contracts?
changed
Yeah.
again,
Yeah,
I'm
some
sure.
of that was-
Just design build contracts, but we should have had contracts for the track. We'll talk about that
Just
later.
for example.
Don't get so excited, man.
Should have them on the premises.
Oh, it's right here, yeah, well, that's 2 down,
So you're gonna,
almost there.
you'll take that.
Yeah, we'll take both of those in, well, actually, I don't think we'll.
We don't need to do
worry about
much.
those
Just
on.
940.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that when we talk in the next section, which should have been right next to this, I apologize, I didn't edit my meeting well enough. We'll kind of look at that as a second reading on this policy then.
All right, review, consider, and take action regarding the school calendar.
Charles, anything to add to the school calendar?
Just a few tweaks from the last one that we did. We bumped up PT conferences in the spring to get it off of some conflicts with potentially MAC junior high and high school basketball.
You just want to have teachers there.
Um,
And that's the second part.
yeah. And,
You don't want to have just a
That is kind of
parent
important.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that makes both conferences about in the middle of week 5 of the semester. And so consistent with the first semester. Same start date, end date. Just a little extra tweak, taking the PDD out in March, giving teachers credit for the 4 to 7 or 3 to 7 PT conferences to do, give them a half day each. So that's about it.
So Matt, remind me again, when we negotiated the last contract, their professional development days are in there, correct?
Yeah,
Like a certain amount.
yeah. I mean, I don't know if we negotiated professional development days, it was more so just days at work.
How many professional development days do we have excluding the 3 before school starts?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5?
Which is, I mean, plenty of
Are
time.
some of those are during breaks?
No.
None of them?
Well, January is coming back out of Christmas break. The rest of them are not.
That's right at the end of the break.
Yeah. So in the spring, we have a winter break, a spring break, an Easter break.
Yes.
How long have we always had a winter break?
Long time.
Well, because the ESU does their midwinter conference on President's Day every year. We moved it, when I moved conferences, so you'll have a break the Friday, the first week of February, and then the kids won't have school on 16th, but the staff will, because they'll have the ESU conference. And then 2 days in March are just a break, just like we just had, and of course Easter is the Friday, Monday.
And we're not doing a Friday early out,
No.
right, in this calendar?
No.
Yeah, so that's something.
So
we're
how
like-
many days does that, or hours does that add up to?
I think I listed the things.
14 days
That
extra,
of class time?
yes. Whereas right
So
now.
why do we still have to start the same days and end the same days?
Because, you know, part of it in your negotiated agreement, your teachers have 183 contract days. And in order to get 183 contract days, this is what it looks like.
But do the kids have to be there 183 days?
No, that
They're not, they're only there 174.
Okay. Just seems like we start earlier every year, finish later every year. I just don't, if we're adding 14 days back by taking the early out.
Well, it's not, it added probably 8,
Okay,
taking
so
away the early out. But like this year, we're pretty tight at the high school level.
Is a lot of it because now sports are scheduled that much earlier too, and that much later?
Well, the first day of fall practice next year is the 11th of August. And then.
Practice, but conditioning will start.
We could, yeah, but the conditioning's, it's optional, but.
And you have to have enough days in there for snow days and stuff.
You know,
And what are we down to half day at the high school left, is it?
I think we're at 6.5 hours.
we're pretty tight.
With that late start.
Now, I mean, as a board, we can come together and talk in April and say, it looks like we still got 18, we still got 14 days.
Could we shorten school?
We could do that.
Really?
Yeah, South Platte does it all the time.
Really?
So we could actually do that, amend the calendar
Yeah.
in April.
During the year?
Yeah.
As long as you have, you meet the
I
threshold.
know you
of
need your
1,000,
hours.
Yeah.
The teachers have to be there no matter what, but.
Well, that'll be
kids-
fun for the teacher to be here for a week and a half longer without kids here.
They want their
They might
students.
be really mad at us.
Well, when you say they're contract, I mean, yeah, they're contracted, but we're gonna pay them.
Well, but then you're,
But do
then
they
you're
have
sorting
to
up,
be here?
then you're sorting up their teaching hours. So your kids,
New structure.
yeah, so if we're letting them out 14 days early, are they missing a chapter of math or of whatever? Or are you then forcing the teacher to
But can you
shove it
see
all
that coming
together?
and plan for it?
Well, if the teacher was doing their job, they should have had the hours there.
Well, they would, but now you're taking 14 days away from them.
We're
So
not gonna
now
take-
they've got-
we're not gonna take
Giving them
14
an
days
extra 14 days right now.
I really don't want school out before the seniors graduate, you know?
Those are discussions that we can have. I just think that, you know, we're gonna be opposite of a ton of schools now. Kimball and Alliance both went 4-day weeks. And our teachers are saying, we wanna run 5 days, full days.
Well, I
'Cause
wouldn't be
just-
surprised if Banner County changes, because the teachers at Banner County hate that Friday. Because they still,
I know that.
huh?
I know that.
Yeah, it's
Um,
crazy.
So it just depends on like the boards and the teachers, so like I was looking at, Kimball had a calendar. Their teacher days are only like 100 and, I want to say like 170 or 168, something like that, that's their teacher days. Your kids are in like 150 or something. I may be less than that, but like, in like Sioux County, their teacher days are like 160. But that's the way they can attract teachers is, hey, look at us, we get out the second week of May, and you're done the day after.
I just, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
just
that's fine.
remembering the olden days. We went to school for a week and it was Labor Day.
Yeah.
Did you take your pail for lunch too?
I guess, uphill.
I do.
But, I mean, it just seems like, wow, 14th is.
It was even the 23rd, 24th when I was in school.
Yes.
Because there was always when there's a kid in my class, so first day of his birthday was school.
I think people are just kind of giving and taking if you don't wanna go to June.
A lot of that is getting your first semester in before Christmas,
That too.
and getting your days in.
Sure.
Because
I'm not arguing against it, I'm just.
Because when I first started here, we had semester tests right when we got back
Yes.
from Christmas vacation, and that wasn't real good
That's
either.
Probably really bad.
That was awful.
Okay, you think?
No.
No. Did you say, and adding the 2 hours on Friday, that's gonna give everybody a warrior period then? During, is that? did I
No,
hear that
we're
wrong?
still, so we'll still keep our rotating study hall.
Do
That's,
they get it once a week or something?
they get it 4 times a week,
4 times? Okay.
they get it every day but Friday.
And that buys us more time.
But it's at a
Have more
different
6
period,
hours.
I mean.
It rotates, so 1 week it's period 1, 3, 7, 5, and then 2, 4, 8, 6.
That's teacher directed, like that, they put their skin in the game and it is,
That's what they want.
that, it's making a difference. On our downs list at least.
That's good.
That's a
Yeah,
positive
that's
thing, so.
We could have 4 kids.
Yeah, 4 kids on the down list is way better than 14 any way you look at it.
Looks better.
You need a motion.
Yes, we did.
I'll make it.
Oh,
What?
two.
So what's the next step? What's the motion?
To accept the updated calendar.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Mr. Benish? Mr. Borges?
Yes.
Mrs. Ernest?
Yes.
Mr. Rushman?
Yes.
Mr. Shoemaker?
Yes.
Mr. Whedon?
Yes.
All right, review, consider, and take action regarding policy updates from the previous month, policies 3022, 3028, and 3030.
We just want to talk through 3022. Did not get legal advice just yet on 3022, but some conversations that we wanted to have before we made it every single person volunteers. We just wanted to consider the fact that, you know, maybe the Frericks mom comes in and donates some of her time, like on a random Wednesday. Worked out for her this week to do it. Does she have to go through a background check? Those types of situations that we were just trying to think in terms of maybe leaving it as is.
And the last background check I did took 2 weeks.
2
It's
weeks.
not something that I just key in.
Yeah.
So
Mine
in
wasn't
those
very long at
cases,
all.
yeah.
But those are the kind of cases that, like, if we do it for every volunteer, it's,
So where do you draw the line?
well, I think if you're gonna have a long-standing volunteer, like, we have a guy come in and does 5th grade,
Fire.
fire stuff, and he's doing it all the time, so maybe we'll run one on him.
So what about like Chad and Mitch? They donate their time to the football team, right? But we know.
Mitch definitely.
So like,
You what?
we know they don't need it
Background
during,
check.
I mean, is that the line you draw on? Because like it, you don't do some people.
Yeah, so it's, I think it says right now, May,
Right.
but
So
it's not required
that's
to.
pick and choose then, just make sure there's a line drawn in case someone asks.
Yeah, instead like Sketchy McSketcherton shows up and it's like, well, we can background check you before. And I mean, I think that's what you do. I mean, we got our guy that's been doing the fire stuff for the last 10 years, like having him.
So in that, like, you know, say it takes 2 weeks, do you make them wait? If you say, well, I think we should run it on this person,
Yeah, we make him
you
wait.
don't make them wait till they're clear?
Yep.
Okay, good.
And we do run it
Clarification
on
for
all the
me.
volunteer coaches
Okay.
that we've done in the past, that's been ran on them.
That's good to, Thank
Anybody
you.
long-term in the building.
On the sex offender one, just still waiting back on this one, just for any random thing that could happen. So second reading is, this is the proposed in yellow.
I just highlighted what I thought was your discussion items. Because I don't know that I got a clear cut, what you wanted the wording to be. So I think if you remove that first,
Do not.
yeah, if you do that, then I think you're also taking away his permission or his discretion there, I don't know.
That's a
And if there was other issues, let me know. I
tough one
was just watching it online last month, so.
to put down in policy.
Or you're still waiting to hear back from the attorney.
On that one,
or-
still waiting to hear back.
yeah, the wording on that's
Yeah.
just weird.
Yeah.
That's what we wanted to figure out, with a different wording for that.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that's what we were looking at.
So that's the second, we'll call that a second reading and then get that advice. And then on the last one, we redlined that one to be or designated health office personnel. That's the verbiage that we're using for her.
So we can approve 30/30?
Yes.
Yes.
I would make a motion to approve policy 30/30 as presented.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Borges?
Yes.
Mrs. Ernest?
Yes.
Mr. Rushman?
Yes.
Mr. Shoemaker?
Yes.
Mr. Wiedemann?
Yes.
Mr. Benish?
Yes.
We'll keep those on the board meeting, the other two, as well as the one that we spoke about tonight for wording changes. And if we need a second read on those, if something comes up, we'll do that as well.
All right, review information from the track project.
Spoke with Justin Knight last week. We are in the summary phases again with the lawsuit. So generally, what happens is we need to respond to all of the opposing sides stuff. So we did that already with Fisher Track, and now we were able to do that last week with Eric Reichert's group, and then I think Hughley's group. So we had two different things come up. I sent everybody information about the milling of the track surface, because that's what we're generally, talking about, as well as the 1 meter safety rule. And they came back with some questions for us, like how many track meets did you run in, and all of these different questions that we had to provide answers to. So we're kind of in the hurry up and wait phase for this investigation. Justin still feels like we have a leg to stand on in this, although sometimes I feel like it's a little dark. But it's just taken a long time. Like the information I sent to the board last maybe a week and a half ago was about the milling of the track. So we were provided 3,000 pages worth of documents on the track that were just nothing. I mean, you guys were able to look at them, there was just nothing. There was no signed contracts like our policies say to do, any of those things, any decisions on the milling of the track surface or anything, there was just nothing on there. So I sent the milling stuff that I went down the rabbit hole on to Justin, he's reviewing that, because that, I mean, that was the RIA question too, is like, why would you do this? And so we're sort of in a hurry up and wait game on that. In the meantime, they did name Simon Construction as a member to the track project that was not on there before. So now Simon will have to somehow get involved in the lawsuit as well. So we will probably do the hurry up and wait game there as well.
So they worked on it?
I guess so. Nothing that I saw said that Simon works on it.
Because we have
They
nothing.
might have did the concrete.
They might have done the concrete.
Yeah,
But
that's probably who did the concrete.
So all of the-
I remember when it
So, I mean, I think Janella said, she's like, I mean, I don't know, I mean. So it's just, I know that it's very frustrating, but I don't think that we're fighting a losing battle on this. It's just a different battle than I would have liked. Are there any questions about the track project at all, or where we're at as far as that goes? So sort of a frustrating.
Do none of those companies keep a copy of any contracts that supposedly?
To be brutally honest, we had asked Hughley about his, and he had said that his server was damaged, resulting in the loss of all of his emails. So I don't know, I mean, it just.
Well, let's see, where'd all our stuff go?
Yeah, okay.
So
Interesting.
we're in a really weird spot, and they sent hundreds of pictures of things, and it just, nothing said anything. So it was super frustrating. But yeah, so we're in the phase of answering their questions as best we can, and then, yeah.
Okay.
But there was no smoking gun in any of nothing to tell us, here's why they decided to put the light poles where they were.
They don't answer to anything.
Yeah.
It just doesn't
No,
make
no.
sense, it's just like, no.
Here's why they put the fence there,
Yeah.
here's why they milled the surface. It was just all, I hate to say it, but I think that they just talked about it and just said, okay, do it. And major changes like that are something that, changes
Should be
the,
written down.
yeah. And so if we go to scrape off the rubber layer,
We know what's, well, they sent
Maybe
us
the
pictures of
contracts
what's
are
underneath.
yeah.
They told us it was wrong and said, hey, here's what's happening, and now it's like,
Yeah.
what are you guys talking about?
In the meantime, we are eliciting bids for top coating the track. The first bid, the guy seemed like it was, he said, surface level wise, we can fix those. And so did Fisher Track. Fisher Track did the exact same thing. We can fix that. We can fix the cracking and all those things, but you do need the top coat. And that's, to the best of my knowledge.
We've got one, I have tried two other companies to come out and get a second, to no response from either one.
We could utilize a Fisher Track bid from before. I have no problems utilizing that bid, but I do not think it's in the best interest of our school to work with the company that we have a lawsuit.
And $100,000, I mean, it's $100,000 with that company.
Yeah.
Well, that's about what it's gonna
It's
cost.
the same like this other one.
Anyway, I don't wanna give them another $100,000.
No,
So I'm still trying to get a second company to come.
I'm a little surprised that you got one. I mean, because the word's out.
Well, and the guy who was Johnny on the spot came out and,
Where were they out of?
Iowa.
Bennington.
Oh, no, yeah, it's actually
Nebraska.
Nebraska, yeah.
Oh,
He just does he does tennis courts and tracks.
I don't know what he does.
Yeah.
What's the top surfaces?
But how would you like to come in and fix, or put that on,
He had,
knowing the condition?
he had
I don't know
no
if I
issues.
would put my name on
He looked at it and assured us he could fix it.
it.
You can give a milling
He
underneath?
gave us a guarantee.
Oh, no,
This is, we
Just
get the
the
milling
top coat.
fixed and then the top coat.
no, this is just a top coat.
Just put the top
And that's
coat on
just
it.
ridiculous, so we
To
gotta
keep it from
spend the money
degrading
on
any
that
further.
and then.
So
Even
there-
without getting the milling fixed first?
No, the milling is irreparable, like you can't fix it.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but they think that putting this on will fix it even with the milling underneath?
Yeah, so the way he talked is there was a fabric, where the places where the track is coming up, there's a fabric that they will put into there that'll move with the movement of that and keep that from cracking. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, didn't he say a 2 or 3 year guarantee on the cracking? Said when they come in and top coat this, if there's a crack that shows up between then, they'll come right back out and take care of it.
And that's supposed to go for
10
8 to
years.
10 years.
He said they could do,
Hopefully.
we could do it, you know, once, do it again down the road, and then by that time frame's up, then you'd have to look at resurfacing.
So 200,000 and then resurface?
Yeah, so we're in a good spot as far as financially to cover this. I mean, we have it in our special building fund. We know that we're gonna need it. We budgeted for it and taxed the people to do it. We need to do it. It's just probably,
Yeah.
maybe the next superintendent's problem if they wanna, if the track breaks in half or whatever the heck it's gonna do.
You're not gonna be here for 30 years?
Well, I don't know, I mean, just like, the way my.
Get it right over
I was getting a little,
No, but you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's-
Of
if this top coat gets us 10 years, I mean, we're in a
Yeah,
great spot.
that's awesome if it does.
Yeah.
If we can do that, that's awesome.
And it just, you know, it's a wonderful facility that we don't want it to go to waste. And we've taxed the people for it. We knew it, they keep on saying that you guys
So-
should have budgeted for it, but we didn't.
So then
it's-
with the lawsuit, are we asking for that, for to pretty much cover that underneath foam and the top cover? Or at the underneath foam pad that we need to put in to stop the crack? Is that what?
No, that's, the lawsuit's point is just, like, you guys messed up the construction of the drain.
That's what
we're
we're
doing.
asking for payment to have that done,
Yeah.
fix the
Probably,
mess
yes.
up.
We don't know that.
But the problem is we're probably going to have to get this done before the lawsuit
Yeah.
is settled. We
Lawsuit
can't,
could
we
be done
can't
2
wait.
years, we can't
Yeah.
let it deteriorate.
And it's something that needs done, in my opinion, something needs done this summer.
Yeah.
When you go out and look at it, I mean, there's, it's just, you need it.
Yeah, it needs to be done.
But going in and fixing it, does that hurt our case?
No, Justin said fix it.
Okay,
Do-
that was my concern.
Yeah.
If we don't do a bunch of stuff, can we prove?
Yeah, but we have thousands of pictures of the dang thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's in our best interest to get that thing top coated and replaced. And if it's okay with you guys, I wouldn't mind using both quotes, Sam from 2 years ago and this one from updated, and just using that. It's been a bear finding a track company that'll come out to western Nebraska.
How is this one
use the
comparable?
Bennington one?
What's that?
What was the quote on this one?
Same.
Same.
They could color
Well,
the track for
there's-
relay zones.
He gave us options, you know, add-ons, but
Right.
what's
Basic.
top end, if you got everything they want, or that we ask them to quote, it'd be 125.
And that's with the foam padding that stops cracking.
No, so yeah, so that's,
It's like a material.
Yeah.
but the 125 gives you colored relay zones
Oh,
and
yeah.
those things.
Yeah.
Which was 20 grand, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So we
And if you didn't want that, then it drops it down to where it's comparable with what we already had.
Like 97, 97. They were pretty. So that's the track update. Nothing revolutionary, but I just want to be as open and honest with that as we possibly can be. If you guys want me to go out into the community and talk more with the community members about the track, I'd be happy to do that. Or make it a newsletter component.
Can you do that, just kind of explaining what's going on? Because that's where I've had questions. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
just try to explain to the community why we're spending this money and where it's going and what it's doing.
Yeah.
I would appreciate
I mean, you think the biggest bill that we've gotten from Justin's firm, it's considerable now. I mean, at this point, it's adding up.
Last month was a big bill, wasn't it?
Last month was, I think, for the full years was around 7,000 or something like
How
that.
much do we have invested in discovery?
Sure, 16,000 on the soil samples,
Yeah.
7,000 in legal fees. We have a lot of money invested in trying to find something. So we're maybe 23. Does that sound about right, Janelle?
Yeah.
I was thinking 23, 24.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no 15 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was one other bill, I think. So if you say that we're into it 27,000 already, I think you'd probably be close.
Probably a little high, maybe.
But I'm gonna do what you guys tell me to do. If you tell me next month to drop it, I'll drop it. I don't, no sweat off my back. I can't stand talking about the track anymore.
Good?
We're good.
Alright. Review, consider and take action regarding the flooring for the preschool.
2 quotes, similar quotes. There's not a huge difference. We've used Dick's before. Flooring Garage hasn't won the last couple on these bids, but I think they're very gracious about coming out and giving us bids, and I think they're a great company with awesome things. It just Dick's has a smaller quote.
We've worked with them, they're $1,000 cheaper. I'd make a motion to accept Dick's Flooring.
I got questions first. Okay, go ahead and make a motion. That's fine.
Yes.
Well, on the proposal, so are these 2 bathrooms and 2 bathrooms in the preschool room?
Yes.
And the hall is,
Oh, sorry, that's from the door
Outside,
to the classroom. So it's a funky room where you can go into the playground from that hallway.
that
So
one?
it's
Okay,
their
that's, I just wanted to make sure
Yeah.
that nothing else was put in here.
Where the
That's why I
lockers,
was
the
asking the
little
questions.
cubby lockers are out.
Yep.
the kids' lockers.
Okay. Go ahead and make a motion now.
Well,
Okay, never mind. Apparently Shad's got questions.
no, I just looking at the bill, they're about the same, but Dick's Flooring is 2/3 materials, the 1/3 labor. And Flooring Garage is kind of split down the middle, so I'm guessing maybe you get better materials with Dick's Flooring.
Just depends. I think it's
Another 2,000 of material, or they just hired cheaper labor to put it in, I don't know.
The guys, they do a good job with Dick's.
I
And
think
both of them listed sales tax, and we'll have them exempt that.
Okay, never mind. That was my next question.
they're not. I don't think they're charging us
But
an
I
arm
think
and a leg
even
for
with
mileage.
taking that off, I think Dick's is still cheaper.
Yeah, it looks like a good
I'd make the motion to accept Dick's Flooring bid for a preschool room as presented.
Oh, very good.
bid. Second that.
Thanks, Shad.
Roll call.
Mrs. Ernest?
Yes.
Mr. Rushman?
Yes.
Mr. Shoemaker?
Yes.
Mr. Wiedemann?
Yes.
Mr. Benish?
Yes.
Mr. Borges?
Yes.
Can we? I'm sorry. Can we just go ahead and do the first and second again?
That was
Shoemaker
Sam.
and then Benish.
Thank you.
All right. Nothing else on the agenda. We will move on to informational items. Mr. Rushman, if you would graciously read that out loud for us. I would appreciate it. Can you read it? You bring your glasses?
Sincerely, Roland Rushman.
So we can take formal, have formal votes.
To Leyton Public Schools, dear Leyton School Board members and Superintendent Matt McLaughlin, it is with regret that I announce my resignation from my position on the Leyton School Board. I intend to remain on the school board through the regular March meeting of 2025. I couldn't have picked a better group of people to serve with than the current sitting board. It is very comforting to know the school is in the hands of the best in our community. I also would like to thank Mr. McLaughlin, Mr. Jones, Mrs. Cruz, and all of the staff for being the best of the best in the field of education. I love the course Leyton is on. I'm very proud of the Warriors. Sincerely, Roland Rushman.
Thank you very much.
We have developed an application, so sucks to read, but it's something that Alice and I worked through a little bit, just talking about how to apply for the position. We posted on the website. I'm going to read you the application questions, just so you guys know what we're going to be asking
Is it
people.
the same when you email it to us?
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah, just a Google form,
Yeah.
so there's no paper collecting.
Yeah, so we just wanna know that our people that are applying for it, number one, are residents of the district, so we're not wasting time and interviewing somebody that's not. And then just some short answer questions that I think will help us to kind of go through that. Now, Ryan, we talked a little bit about how we'll do the interview probably at next board meeting. And I don't know how that really looks. So we'll run that by the lawyer to make sure that, you know, it'd be really nice to have it all just out there in the public, that'd be great. What I'm concerned is if like candidate A is sitting in and watching candidate B, it's like, oh, he knows all the answers.
So when we did that before, the candidates were in chairs right in front of us, and we had questions that we'd ask, and then at the end, somebody nominated whoever they thought was.
Yeah, that's how we did it. It's all in the open.
It's all in the open, and it's actually on, it's a part of the Open Meetings Act, and I believe it's in policy as well, in that you can do it, you can appoint, or you can interview. So,
Do we have enough time to do that for next board meeting then?
It's just at the beginning of the meeting.
It's just, okay.
yeah,
Because
And
then
then
they
you
take
see
their
them
oath
and
and they join the meeting.
they're part of it.
Meeting right
Yeah.
then.
Part of the meeting.
Yep.
Holy cow, alright, so we're gonna rock and roll.
that's what,
So
that's how
the next,
Sam got
the
on
next
it.
part of this might be meeting time. We
Yeah,
may move it up earlier to make sure we got enough time.
It'll be farther.
But,
You don't wanna move it too early for people.
14.
Yeah, people that work.
like 5:30 is what I figured.
we just try for that
Did you guys-
5:30
You
time.
didn't go into closed session at all to discuss?
Nope.
Nope.
It is wide open.
That's
There was a
great.
lot of people there.
There was.
Any candidates get all ticked off and leave?
Yes,
After.
There you go. Well, I like that, I mean, that makes a lot more sense in my
They have to answer in front of the
head.
community, they have to answer in front of everybody, the camera.
That sounds good in a bad situation.
Mm.
And thanks for your service, Raul.
Thank you.
Yeah.
yes, thank you, Ron.
No, I apologize. I really do.
You have a
You
lot-
guys got better things to do than
You have a lot going on in your life.
Exactly.
And it's not like you can't be an active member of the community, talk about budget stuff and things like that. Those things are gonna, that's gonna come up. Now you just don't have to go through the side meetings.
Do you want it on the website and posted on Facebook, just to get the reach out there further?
Yeah, I think that'd be,
Yeah.
I'm
I
totally
mean, it's just a
comfortable with
link,
that.
I mean, so it's just a click, and I changed all the questions to required, so I
Okay.
couldn't skip any of them, so
Yeah.
they
There you
can't
go.
submit without answering every question, so.
Did you take every applicant as well?
Yes.
Okay, so,
Yeah, there was three.
we had
Three.
Yeah.
3,
Three
okay.
for two.
I mean, if we get 3, that'd be awesome.
5 and then.
What a thankless job.
Yeah, a couple of them dropped
They
out.
didn't do it.
Yeah, there was one that dropped out during the meeting.
It was like after tonight's 2-hour meeting.
I got one of them.
Okay,
That's
all
a
right.
long meeting. You go to Lincoln tonight?
Yeah,
Oh, boy.
Yikes.
so let's go, let's wrap this
What,
up.
what day?
We said second Monday.
Gotta figure that out. If you do it the second Monday, I'm not gonna be here.
We're not doing it the second Monday.
Actually, no, that would be the 14th. wouldn't it?
14th.
Yeah, I still wouldn't be here. So that is Wednesday the 16th is the earliest I could do it. Is that getting late in the
I
week?
think we just have to have it by the 20th, isn't it, the month?
21st would be the third Monday.
And
I
it's
think it's the
Easter
third
break.
Monday, so.
Well, it's break anyway, so I think our only thing is the third Monday, yeah. No, I think Wednesday's
The
fine with
16th
me.
good with everybody else?
Yeah.
Wednesday the 16th?
Works for me.
Okay, at 5:30?
5:30, so.
Okay.
Everybody's taxes will be out of the way, so we'll be good.
I don't know, people may show up mad,
Okay.
because they had to pay tax.
Yeah, I think I'm.
A motion to adjourn.
So you're gonna be one of
I'll
them?
make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Dave and Susie. Roll call.
Mr. Rushman?
Yes.
Mr. Shoemaker?
Yes.
Mr. Wiedemann?
Yes.
Mr. Benish?
Yes.
Mr. Borges?
Yes.
Mrs. Ernest?
Yes.
803.
Hope that didn't scare you, Mitch.
Very, very
A lot
informative.
of 3.